Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the 2022 North America Contributor Summit Planning Meetings. I am your host today, Bob Killen, aka Mr. Bobby Tables. As a general reminder, these calls are recorded and will be posted to the internet sometime later. We abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. With that, and with this being the first meeting, actually, let's do a quick round of introductions because there's some new people on the calls. Well, this is the first one for the Contributor Summit anyway. So I will kick it off the hot potato game and toss it over to Nabrun.
Hey everyone, hi, I'm Navarun. This is not the first time I'm involved with the Contributor Summit. Was doing registrations, shadowed Bob actually during Contributor Summit San Diego 3 years back, and then led registrations for the cancelled Amsterdam Contributor Summit. And now I'm back again to the team. And in the meanwhile, been involved in SIG release, architecture, and a few other areas of the community. I would now pass on to Rob.
Hi, I'm Robert Kilty. I may not be attending this KubeCon and this Contributor Summit. I've yet to decide, but I said I would attend the meetings because I'd like to participate in the next KubeCon Europe. I've attended a few Contributor Summits and gave a talk on PROW, which I'm revisiting now at the moment. And I will pass over to Josh Burkus.
Hi, I'm Josh Burkus. I was on the last Contributor Summit team. I'll probably be helping out with some incidental things for this Contributor Summit, but will not be taking a lead role barring emergencies. And Arnaud.
Hi, my name is Arnaud. Like Josh, I was part of the previous team for Contributor Summit of Europe. So this time I'm really just basically trying to shadow Navarun for the registration staff if anyone else don't step up for this role. And I will pass the potato to Noah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Noah. I've been involved in several of these in the past in US, Europe, and Shanghai. I tend to end up doing a lot of the day of logistics stuff. And I haven't been involved for the past few. I don't know how many of them have actually happened, but I'm happy to be back. I'm going to pass it over to Xander.
Hey everyone, I'm Xander. I've attended a few of the contributor summits now, and it always just ends up being my favorite part of the week of KubeCon. So figured it would be a good thing to join and see if there's anywhere that I can help out with the planning. I will pass it over to GP.
Hello. My name is Jeffrey Sika, also known as Jiffy. I have been to many contributor summits and helped out with them. I don't know why I'm talking like this. Yes, looking to contribute to the contributor summit, especially considering for all but 1 year of my life, I lived within 20 minutes of the venue. So yeah, let's do this. I will pass it off to Mars.
Hello. My name is Mars, and I've been involved with this previous Kubernetes Contributor Summit, and I would love to help again if possible. Detroit is nice. I'd love to visit it. Can't wait. And I'll pass it over to Kaslin.
Hello. I'm Kaslin, and I am a developer advocate at Google, and I've been attending KubeCon since 2016, though I attended my first KubeCon Contributor Summit in 2019. I'm also a member of the Contributor Comms group of SIG Contribex. So we do lots of tweeting and various communications tasks. So I've offered to be the lead for communications for this contributor summit, and I was also involved with planning for the last one. Also trying to work on a shirt design. Need to update you on that, Josh. And I'll pass it on to Avinash.
So hey everyone, this is Avinesh. This is first time me involving in Contributor Summit. I'm also part of Contributor Comms, mainly doing the promotion and all kind of crazy stuff. So yeah, happy to be here to help you guys. And I'm not sure who's still left to say. So if anyone can volunteer themselves, it would be great.
I can go ahead and volunteer. Name is Jason DeTiberos.
They cut out for anyone else.
Yes.
I saw everyone make faces all at once.
Yeah.
It figures.
Am I back?
You're
yes.
back. Okay, I don't know where I cut out there. Sorry.
Like literally, it's like, hi, my name's Jake.
Oh yeah, my VPN cut out on me right as I did that. So yes, Jason DeTiberos. I've helped out with various contributor summits in the past, mostly day of, but I've also helped organize the SIG meet and greet in the past as a shadow, and I'm looking forward to contributing a bit more this time around.
I can jump in. Hi, I'm Deb. I work for the Linux Foundation /CNCF. On the events team, we're here to help support you all and make your dreams come true the best way we can possibly do it. So if you need anything, let us know. And I also have an addition this event, which I'm very excited about. So I'll pass it to Brienne to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Brienne. As Deb said, I am going to be working with her and eventually taking over the KCS Summit from the CNCF side. And I'm really excited to kind of jump in, learn everything and meet everybody. I was in Spain, so I did kind of get to shadow and see a little bit, but I'm definitely excited to learn more.
Yeah, I'm Joseph Sandoval, and I've been an attendee at contributor summits in the past, and this past one in Valencia, I kind of helped drive the SIG release session that we did underneath the larger event. So looking forward to continuing that and finding ways to support this great event.
Well, I think that is everyone. Thank you and welcome all. Looking forward to working with you over the next few months. A quick reminder for those that might have missed it. We have an open thread in K community where we're asking people if they're interested in volunteering. And if you can, please call out the roles that you want to potentially either lead or shadow for. Especially as we start ramping up, this will just really help sort of separate all the responsibilities and let people sort of execute independently. The idea, following our sort of standard thing, is a shadow will potentially be at least have a pool of people to take a leadership position in running it for a future summit. We also have multiple emeritus people around that can, if you are uncomfortable with leading, we do have multiple emeritus people that can, that have pretty much done all the various roles that can also help out. I think the only role at this point that we actually don't have a lead for, Paris did volunteer to run awards. Okay, so if you are interested in potentially shadowing any of the other roles, please chime in explicitly on that thread. Right now, our leads are Nabroon for registration, Caslin for comms, Jason for content, and Paris for awards. Okay. let me pop back over the registration. I think the first real thing is trying to establish some early timelines. Deb, I took some of the deadlines that you had called out in the journal tracking issue and put them in here. But do
Awesome.
we have any other, like, what is our next upcoming deadline?
Registration would be the big one. When do you want to publish registration? You're probably going to need at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, typically we publish Contributor Summit registration right alongside when the schedule goes out, because that's when most people know if they have talks and know when they're traveling. Bob's
Usually
shaking his head.
We've published the registration link way earlier because the schedule is not refined until much closer to the summit.
No. KubeCon schedule.
Oh, I got you. Sorry. I thought you meant the
yeah.
summit schedule.
No. The KubeCon schedule. And the KubeCon schedule comes out, I think, August 2nd or 3rd. So
Yeah, the
site
3rd.
published. Yeah, site published August 1st is pretty close already.
Okay. So I would say that the top priorities at this point would be getting the site live, and then scaffolding out reg as the next 2 major deadlines. Would folks generally agree with that as like the next big upcoming things?
I would. The only other thing that I would be curious about is around when we're going to know the celebration venue and like what choices we're going to have.
So we're starting that venue search now. We should have some information beginning of August. And the Motown Museum is on the list. They will be open by then. I don't know what pricing looks like. I don't know what anything looks like, but it has made we need to look into an option. So they open again August 10th.
Nice. So. Yeah, I honestly have not taken any, not looked at any pictures of what it looks like post renovation.
You would hope the renovation makes it look better, right? So if it was good before, it's even better now. Fingers crossed if they did it right.
Okay. So with that, and going back to our set of deadlines, does the first make sense? August 1st makes sense for a go live for the website and potentially registration?
Yeah, if we can get some, we'll share the reg form today, the doc for you all to make updates in, and then if we can get that back in the next few days, then we'll get that reg form started.
Okay. One other thing related to the site, I know, Josh, you have seen this issue, and I think someone else in this call has also chimed in on it, on reorganizing the contributor site to make it more, at least the event section of the contributor site, to make it a bit more consistent.
We had a volunteer from Contributor Comms who supposedly was going to take that on, but after asking me some questions about it, I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Well, I can also take that AI to organize that, since I've and as well as like the
see, who was that? Atharvo was supposedly going to take that on, so it might be worth pinging him to find out whether or not he actually started doing all of the text on that. You know, if not, no problem, then we can just tackle it. You can see there's an issue there. And yes, absolutely, we should clean that up before starting yet another contributor summit. Because it's getting a little silly.
I chimed in on it with the proposed layout 2 change on a few days ago.
Okay, so not separating out summits at all?
Honestly, like the other stuff isn't, like, it's the community meeting. We can move on to the community section.
Oh, I was thinking more that if we make this more approachable, people with things like, if a KCD has a community thing at it, they might want to list that as an event, etc. In other words, sort of planning for the future in terms of that. But there's no reason why, you know, if you're more comfortable that way, there's no reason why we can't have everything under the year instead of having summits and other events separate. I don't have strong feelings with it, in other
Okay.
words.
Well, if anyone else has feelings on the organization of the contributor site and how the event section should be laid out, please chime in on that thread and can follow up on getting that taken care of relatively soon. And I will drop a link to that issue in chat.
I think Josh might have already.
It's already there, yeah.
Okay, cool. Or, I'm sorry, not in chat, in the doc. So I think those are the immediate things that need to happen. As far as content and themes for this summit, the big change for this summit that we haven't done in summits past, that there'll be no new contributor workshop. Honestly, we've talked about it in past meetings, but it has not panned out for us in general. As well as, like, we have no idea what actual infrastructure will be like there, because even when we've been told we get like really good Wi-Fi or really good internet, it hasn't quite ever panned out. So the big thing is the people there will be our contributors, like the people that have already made some commitment to the project already. And there definitely is a large desire for, potential structured content and things on, how to, like Aldo was proposing the other day, to do a deep dive into how finalizers work, and cover some of the larger area, the things in the project that haven't been necessarily documented well, to help, people become better contributors. So this would feed into, like, the general, we probably want to do a general CFP, and potentially reach out to individuals that we know might be able to either present something again, or might have good stuff that would be useful to propose. The other thing that I don't know if we want to do this, is any sort of unconferencey type things. It seemed to go over really well at the Contributor Summit EU, but
Go ahead, Josh. You were unmuted first.
I was going to say, just feedback from EU was most people like the unconferencey things. Even the people who wanted more pre-planned content still wanted unconference sessions. They just wanted a slightly different balance.
So the one thing I was going to point out with EU this year was the unconference sessions were popular, but they were also incredibly active. And I wasn't sure if that was because it was an unconference session, or if it was because multiple unconference sessions turned into more of a moderated group discussion. And yeah, I see your hand, Josh. And realistically, we can have these kinds of discussions on Zoom, but one thing that I have absolutely found is the bandwidth for communication is still limited, even when you are on a video call, and having that like increased bandwidth in person is certainly helpful for collaboration. So again, unconference, or in addition to unconference, do we also have like a CFP type for a moderated discussion on topic X? Josh, go for it.
Okay, I would say there were two reasons why the unconference sessions were relatively active for this. One was that most of them were simply pitched as discussion sessions. That was kind of how people conceived of them. We encouraged that in when we wrote up how to submit a session, et cetera. Encourage people to think of them as discussion sessions. And because we literally decided the unconference sessions the morning of the contributor summit, it meant that everything was extremely topical. As in, nobody was pitching anything that had already been resolved before the contributor summit started. And so those were sort of the advantages there. The other reason why I think they were very active compared to, say, San Diego was because we only effectively had 2 concurrent sessions in each time slot. People had an incentive to find something to be in.
Hey, Deb, can you just quick reminder, how many, like, what is our layout on rooms again?
Yeah, so we're making a few adjustments. The CNCF team did a site visit last week. But so we've got the general session room, the workshop room, 2 meeting rooms, a docs room, and a hangout/meals room.
I didn't keep up with that. So there was the general session room, the workshop room.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Give me a second.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
I can't.
Give me 1 sec. I just have to try now.
Okay. Do you see a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. So again, the room numbers are changing at the moment, but we've got, so general session, a workshop room, 2 meeting rooms, which you have on both Monday and Tuesday, a docs room, and a hangout room.
And by hangout, how big is that then? Oh, sorry, I'm dumb. I just see some.
No, you're fine. It's for 200 and, well, without AV. This is with AV. It would be 270 people in rounds. So that probably goes to over 300 with rounds.
Okay.
All right, and
so, and how the docs room, it looks like it's pretty large.
So that's the one that's most likely going to change. You had asked for 50 in rounds in that room. 50 in rounds? Let me confirm that. 1 second.
I guess has anyone on the call been in the doc sprints in the past?
Yeah, 50 rounds.
Because that seems very excessive to me.
Yeah, I've popped in and I don't think I've ever seen it be more than like 20 people.
Yeah. Do you know who was? Sorry.
no, I was just looking, trying to figure out how big the meeting rooms were.
So these meeting rooms, depending on what set right now, you have U-shaped. So it'd be around the 17 mark.
Around the 17. And then
I definitely think
about 134 each for the general session and workshop room as well, right?
Yeah, if you're doing in rounds.
Okay.
So based on reg, we would keep that combined for the first, and then we could separate it. So you did the general section and the workshop room later. Because if you're trying to do like a keynote, it's like a joint session and then break it up, depending on how many people register, obviously. Or you could do theater if you want to fit more people in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we definitely want to reclaim at least one of the docs rooms. Is my first gut reaction for looking at this too.
So you're looking for one more smaller room?
I would think so, especially if we want doing unconference stuff. We can also play it by ear depending on how much content is submitted. Who was the person from docs that asked for 50 roundtables?
It was on this meeting during the EU planning. I didn't make a note of who asked for what, but it was part of the original request.
Okay. Because yeah,
50
I don't.
tables?
I think it might have been 15, like 15
One
at
fire?
most. Because like 50 is I have never seen, like most of the
Yeah,
doc sprints I've
even-
seen have been like 10 people.
Yeah, even in San Diego, they only had like 20 people for the Docs Day.
Okay. We can adjust that. That's not a problem. And then you would have one other room, because again, this is the one that's changing. So
Okay.
I need to connect with the CNCF team that was on site last week to confirm the switch.
Okay.
Is it possible to share out that spreadsheet, Deb, or no?
Yeah, it's linked on it's the CNCF tracking sheet here in the meeting notes doc.
All right,
And I
great,
can
thank you.
I can send the link too. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the docs group could probably do well with just one of those rooms.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. And we can also adjust some of the stuff up and down, again, based on what sort of content we get, or, you know.
Are all those numbers on the 411 rooms? It doesn't look like they line up quite right. It looks like 411A is a different size, even though it says 34 rounds.
They may not be able to fit more rounds in that space.
But it
Just
looks like
based
it's
on the layout.
it looks like it's smaller.
Can you click
These are the
the venue floor plan?
Yeah, so these are the numbers. You can see what we do. Oh, not that one. Here, so they say 48, they can put in rounds, and then we remove 25% or 30% for AV.
It seems odd that it's. Let's look at it.
But again, those are the rooms that are changing. So don't pay attention to these. Like I said, these ones are changing for sure. For sure happening. So tell me what you need and how about we work from there? Because that's typically what we do. Since this is changing based on last week's site visit, I don't want you to get attached to certain rooms or things.
Yeah, and this being my first time leading content and really being involved with the content, I'm not familiar with generally the responses that we get for like workshops versus CFP content versus, you know, what's the normal kind of breakdown between those? Is anybody familiar with that?
I can say that this one is probably going to be the best one for a fresh start and sort of throw out a lot of preconceived notions because it is now post-pandemic. And at least from ballpark-ish and, you know, talking to people, we should be able to expect like at least like 300 people there.
Okay.
On the workshop side, I don't know how, like, that could also be converted to basically be treated as another just general session room too. Just depending on what people submit for content.
Yep. So in general, for the CFP, we'll probably go for that targeted content, the deep dive type technical content, the workshops. We'll have the we can potentially do the unconferencing stuff day of. In the past, we've made space for like SIG meetings. I think somebody expressed that the cluster API folks were interested in something like that. Is that something that we're interested in doing again, or?
I would say yes. We do also have space the following day that can be used for explicit SIG meetings.
Okay.
The one thing that I would do would be like, I would leave it on there as a option, the CFP. And if we get a whole slew of people wanting to do SIG specific meetings, those largely get, or like if there's a overwhelming amount of CFP content, all the SIG specific meetings essentially get punted to Tuesday. And if not, then we can take like a lot of the larger SIG ones and make it, the day of.
All right. Is there any other type of broad classified content we've done in the past for?
I'd have to take a look at our CFP submissions and from past summits. Josh, do you remember?
Workshops, sort of general information sessions, because I expect for example, the contextual log is there's probably still going to want a general information session for that. I guess it's kind of it, because it's either going to be a workshop, it's going to be so the information session, for example, is from the log folks. Is they want to have a session saying, hey, this is something that everybody who programs Kubernetes, any component that might create a log, needs to know about. So that sort of session is a thing. Changes coming in the future, etc. Discussion sessions. I think we need to call those out as discussion sessions, and those are going to generally, but a lot of those will end up waiting for unconference if we're going to have an unconference component, because there's no point in booking a discussion session, 2 months ahead of time and then having the discussion be resolved on GitHub before the contributor summit starts. And that's about it. One of the things I was going to say about
we've also, sorry.
One of the things I was going to say about the SIG meeting is, one of the things we did for EU was basically put up a time grid and let the SIGs pick their own time slots, because often they're trying to get a group of specific people there. And I'm suggesting that you at least consider that approach, even if you decide not to do it for North America.
Yeah. The other thing is I know in the past we've done like the lightning talks as well. Does it make sense, since we're focusing more on deep dive tech content and discussion, to offer that as an option, or no?
I personally wouldn't bother with lightning talks.
I'd say that lightning talks make sense if there's a plenary session for them. That is, if you have a time slot, because we actually consider them for Europe too. Specifically in the circumstances where we have a time slot where we don't want to do breakouts for whatever reason, but we have an hour free in the calendar. And that would be the main reason to do lightning talks. If lightning talks are competing with breakouts, I don't think they'll compete successfully.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't quite think so. The other question is whether or not you'd get enough lightning talk submissions for it to be viable, and obviously there's one way to determine that.
Yeah.
the one general idea, we can also go fairly lightweight and see CFP submissions with just session submission or discussion and stuff like that, and then if we want to break them out into separate themes later based on the amount of content we get, we can basically create a track around architecture or sustainability and some of those things, just based on the types of submissions we get.
Yep, I think that makes sense. All right, I think that covers the majority of the questions that I have so far.
I actually do have one question, which is you haven't mentioned anybody who's in charge of the social. Is that somebody you're still looking for? I'm not volunteering. I did the last social, so.
I don't know. So I think honestly the social is going to be more just a general like bring to the group and we figure out some things. It'll like I don't have a specific role called out for it, but I can add that role if like someone is particularly interested for it.
Based on experience, one person needs to be in charge of the social.
Okay.
I had a lot of questions from Deb on various details of the social, including last minute ones.
Okay.
And Deb and Brienne need to know who to bring that to rather than it being a committee decision.
Okay. I will add that role to the list of things we are looking for.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in helping out there. I don't think I'd feel comfortable leading it, but I'm happy to shadow for that role. If there's others that are interested in working on that.
We'll figure it out in the issue.
Yep. Okay. I think that is mostly it at this point in time. For comms, we'll want to ramp that up, especially once we have like the site and reg and all that stuff ready to go live. We'll have the CFP messaging that we will also want to send out. The one big thing we do want to try and do for this summit and to recycle for summits in future is actually firm up our like templates, because we have a bunch of like comms documents that outline the stuff that we've done in the past, but they're all kind of scattered about. So that'd be like a great thing to potentially, modify them to be a bit more Mad Libs fill in the blank for future events. Is there anything else that I am forgetting? Anything else people want to bring up? Okay, I think that's it. Jeff, you came off mute.
Yeah, I was just gonna say going once, going twice.
Okay.
Actually, I was going to say one thing, and let me post a link in there for anybody who didn't attend the retro for EU. Please do read the retro document, just for the parts of, hey, these are things we had problems with that we weren't expecting to have problems with. Things like people thinking that registration was not required for the social. So please do read that, whatever your role is, read that over for things to look out for this contributor summit.
So I do have one thing, but related to content. I'm not sure how to approach it. Having just gone through program committee reviews, I saw a couple of talks where a lot of people gave feedback of this should probably be in the contributor summit. Do we have a pipeline for something like that?
Outside of people just resubmitting it, no. We do not have like, well, there is like Alpha Event staff on here. We technically don't have like any formal relationship with KubeCon proper in terms of like specific content.
We could create one though. Somebody can just email the chairs and say, hey, we've heard that these sorts of things exist. could you provide us with a list where somebody has left a comment like that?
So the other thing that I wonder too is that something that potentially should be routed towards the maintainer track as well? Because the maintainer track is going to have a lot of similar content than what we would see at the contributor summit.
It really depends on the audience. Like if it is Kubernetes focused, then it makes sense to be more contributor summit. Most of the maintainer track stuff itself, like the SIGs get the explicit sessions. Can't talk. And like that sort of their stuff. There's the general community track too, that's more like wider audience. But yeah, if it is very, I'd say Kubernetes focused, then it would make more sense for Contributor Summit.
It's not necessarily something we need to solve today, but I think if we had some form of pipeline to say, these got rejected because people said they would be better somewhere else, but then there's no actual way for them to get to that somewhere else.
Right.
It might be a good pipeline to have in place.
Well, like I said, the route for that is someone should email the KubeCon chairs. So
the outside of like emailing the KubeCon chairs, probably the follow-up action on their side would be to actually, like, instead of telling us as the summit who they are in their session, be like, hey, your content might be more appropriate here. Here's the, who to reach out to if you're interested in presenting here.
Yeah, we can follow up with the content team on that too and see if they have a method they prefer as well.
Mostly, like, I just want to make sure that, the LF is not handling a list of a whole bunch of people's names and sessions and all that with us without the person's permission.
Yeah, there's a lot of GDPR things right there.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else at this point in time? Well, cool. I will see you all around Slack, GitHub, Zoom, and looking forward to working with you over the next few months. Later.
Thanks.
Thanks all.